Aries.
Hello Aries, this is your February forecast for 2014, and we're starting off top of the month here with Venus coming back to us. It's been retrograde since December 21st, and January 31st it turned direct again. So during this period here, it was a time to reassess who and what we value. So some of you have been putting a lot of extra, should I say, love into figuring out what it is you want from your relationship. And for you, it's been transiting the 10th house, so that's also your career. So some of you have been reassessing what it is you want and what you value as far as your career as well. So Venus rules love and romance, but it also rules those things we value. Your 10th house, it's career. Venus also rules money. Have you been getting enough of what you feel you're worth? So this is what this month, last month, has been all about. So you've been back and forth. And then, of course, Mars here transiting through Libra, which it will be, until summer, has been between a rock and a hard place here at New Year. So some of you have been feeling this push-pull here between Uranus and Pluto. And what does that mean, though? Well, Mars is your drive, it's your goals, it's your ambitions, and Libra is all about the scales, trying to find the balance, once again ruled by Venus. And so Venus is also, or has been, asking you what it is you truly want and what is it you don't want. What have you been putting up with? What do you no longer want to put up with? Mars for you is in the 7th house, so that's definitely committed relationships. So you could see here between the Mars and the Venus in January, it's still here right now, February. So most of you will still be looking at it. However, the change here in February will be all about now feeling that you're getting on the same page, okay? So you must have had some more, I'd like to say, in-depth, perhaps, discussions, conversations, trying to really get into the core of where you're at with your partner, and balancing up those scales of what it is you now want to be pushing forward with. Now, Venus is going to support you in this. The work you do, work is not just career, 10th house, it's also where you put your dedication. Remember though, 10th house, career, is always ruled by Saturn. Saturn is karmic implications. It's also those deeper life goals that you pursue. So since Mars is here in the 7th house and Venus is up here in that Saturn house, well, you're keeping a sharp eye, very close eye. Your partner here, is he or she the one that you really want? And if so, how can it now work? So the push-pull between Uranus and Pluto, it is going to be with us in effect. And I want you to really look at that as a good thing, all right? Even though it's requesting that we work a little deeper, a little harder, a little bit more open-heartedly without, all these, should I say, layers of protection, because that gets us nowhere. If we have fear and we're not really addressing these issues, well, that can backfire. So, and it's not just all about working it out here all on your own. 7th house is the partnership. It's really getting your partner to communicate with you, to work with you on these matters, and then you can see how whatever you do together can be a little bit more on the 50-50, okay? There's got to be that give and take for harmony to go. And I'd also like to say here too, though, and especially for women try to fix, right? And if something's not working, they just give more and more and more. But what happens in a relationship like that? And I've had a lot of these discussions here lately with a lot of my clients on the phone. The more we fix, the more the scales are actually tipping, right? And it looks like this. What happens down the road when the scales are like this? You're going to end up resenting, right? And if you're resenting, what's the opposite side of that coin? Is guilt. So the more you do, the more you pour into, the more you try to fix, the more you try to give, and your partner's not scaling up, well, he or she's going to end up feeling very guilty, and then we're creating this monster all right? And that relationship, it's a living time bomb. It can go to a certain point in time, and then that's going to kind of like self-destruct. So ask yourself now, when Mars is here in this area for you, Aries, are you giving too much? If so, pull back a little bit. Remember, everything is magnetic. Everything is a magnet. So if you're giving too much, you're pushing this partner ahead, pushing it away, and then they're just like receiving. When you turn your magnet around, you're going to be automatically turning his or her magnet around too, until you find that perfect balance between the give and take. Now, if you're not allowing your partner to reach you where you are, maybe because you're a little hasty and wanting to move forward too quickly, well then that is a message to you to don't look at time. Okay, don't let time be the driving factor. You're not needing to actually catch a train, are you? When you're in a relationship, you always want to keep an open mind that this could be forever, beyond this lifetime even. There is no time. If you take time, the time factor out of your relationship, and then look at what you have, you will see it clearly for what it is and what you do have. Embrace it and then work with it. Great thing to think about here throughout February. Now, as Venus is moving direct again here, it is in a conjunction to Pluto, and when we have Venus and Pluto doing this, there's a lot of intensity, right? Pluto is very intense. It's very symbiotic with anything it touches. Right now it's touching Venus, so there might be a lot of love going on, a lot of closeness, a lot of intimacy. And this can definitely be very healing for those of you who's been going through that little seesaw of the push-pull here from right before the holidays and throughout January. So coming back together again, this is excellent for you. And we have the Sun currently cruising through your 11th house. That's social networks, it's hopes and dreams and visions, and it's all those good things of the friendships that you have. Dedicating a little bit more time here this month for it. And also you have, I'd like to say the new moon, even though, truth be told, we have no new moon in February. We only have one moon, and that's the full moon coming in. And why is that? Well, the new moon was on the very last day. It was January 31st. So January had two new moons. This month we only have a full moon. And what this is doing here is shunting, changing and shifting the whole new moon, full moon, which has always been the new moons coming in first, full moon later in the month. But we're reversing this now after this second time here, because we're going to have a double new moon next month as well, and that will be the end of it. Then we're going to start our months with full moon first, having the new moon very late in the month for the rest of 2014. So it's just shifting consciousness, it's shifting feelings. The full moon is always what we harvest. So instead of harvesting what we started early in the month to later in the month, we're going to start our months by harvesting what we sowed as intentions the prior month. But more on that later. But we're still feeling the effect of this new moon here on the 1st. It's there with the Sun. It's in the 11th house. Hopes, dreams, wishes, networks, how you communicate, how you adapt with groups and organizations perhaps. So intentions, right? Even today, even though we're a few hours behind it, today would be the best day now to put down those roots in this area where you really connect it tightly to what it is you want to achieve this month and for the rest of the year, is actually telling the universe you want to dedicate more time here in this area with your friends. We have Mercury here turning retrograde on us this month. It will be retrograde from the 6th to the 28th. And it's going to start out in your 12th house. That's the subconscious house. It's that inner spirituality that we have. But then it's going to go back three and a half weeks back into your 11th house. So you got some finishing, wrapping up some old business here within that area we just spoke about. Your associates, your friends, the groups that you're affiliated with and so forth. So there might be retweaking and going back over whatever agreements maybe that was put in place here in January, Just make sure, though, that you don't sign anything when you're negotiating this. You want to wait till you get into March. In fact, the shadow of this Mercury retrograde will be all the way into March 20th. So if you can wait to then, it would be even better to sign contracts. If you can't wait that long, sure, you can go ahead after the 28th. So say March 1st onwards will be good for you in that matter. And I'm sure that there will be documents for many of you to sign. Then we still have this unfolding of you and your consciousness, this Uranus in your first house, and many of you got to really feel that here in 2013. And we're still on top of the year here in 2014, and you will see more of this coming forward, especially those of you in the third middle of the sign of Aries are now going to be called into action where things are going to start hammering down for you all of this year of 2014. The first week, the first third of you, you're already pretty much processed here through last year. So now the rest of you Arians, you're going to start feeling how it is to have it directly to you. You'll know as we go along, it is going to be calling you into action to create those changes that I think you're already aware of. They're just kind of being a little procrastinated for now. We have Jupiter retrograde, fourth house. That is the roots, where you come from. It is your family around you. It's also the home and residence and real estate that you own. There's a consideration whether to stay where you are. Some of you might be thinking, planning, dreaming perhaps of creating a larger space. That will be coming into the picture, but we won't be moving forward before April. So more on that next month, okay? And in April itself, with a forecast of what Jupiter is going to be doing here as she moves forward. Right now, not a good time if you're thinking of investing here. You may think it, you may research it, you may be out and about looking at properties, but not really a good time to put your money in it quite yet. Not as long as Jupiter is retrograde. So April onwards is really good for it. Then we have you still looking at investments, maybe your savings, how you can save, how you could actually cut some corners and shave off and prune a little bit here with your savings, or the money that you have with others, joint ventures and so forth, is pretty much on the map. But I'm seeing here when we get to February 19th, there might be some talks coming up with this. So pay attention to whatever kind of communication, especially if somebody's wanting you to sign this month. You might not want to do that on the 19th, especially because Mercury is still retrograde, but also because Mercury is now squaring Saturn, that has to do with these foundations, the contracts, the paperwork, and so forth, what you commit yourself to karmically. Not too good of a time. There on the 18th, though, the sun is moving into Aquarius. It's out of Capricorn. So you will be feeling that, the sun will be moving into Pisces and out of Aquarius. So at this time, you're feeling that your sun now is more attuned with you psychically and how you're connecting to those hopes, dreams, wishes, and so forth too. So a time to pull back there. Now, good dates for you this month. Well, lo and behold, we have the full moon on Valentine's, right? And for you here, it's going to be a very romantic month, Arians, because your full moon is dropping into your fifth house of love and romance, of joy and charm. It's bringing the inner child up and out, wanting to play. Any of you also at this time wanting to start any new projects. Well, even though Mercury is retrograde, it's a great time at least to hold your attentions there. Wait for March if you can. But this whole area with the full moon is lighting up all this potential and all the things that you can come to do now when we move into the following month. All right? So what else do we have here? We do have Mercury on the 11th moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So it's moving out of this area of your career house. You might have been speculating, thinking a whole lot here end of December and throughout January. But now it's like you can start letting go of some of it. It's freeing up some of your mind, so that is awesome. And also here, like we were talking about the communication on the 19th being a little squared with Saturn, you might feel that on February 11th as well. So it's like on the 11th, your sun is going to be squaring with Saturn. So I think this is when maybe something will pop up, the opportunity will pop up, and then it's going to be spoken or negotiated there on the 19th. So you have like that whole week to feel. Maybe you're looking for a job, perhaps, and if you are, that might arrive, and then something will come in there on the 19th. But we're closing off this month here on the 25th with Venus, kind of wanting to really secure something for you. Venus is direct again. We have Saturn here, which is still direct. We'll be going retrograde next month, mind you. These two things together, it's coming between your 10th and the 8th house. So career-wise, anything with money matters, anything with investments should be very good on February 25th. And then something unexpected coming in on February 26th when Jupiter and Uranus are going to do the dance. They are squared, so they're a little bit here apart, challenging one another, looking at one another. Jupiter is still retrograde, so it might take you back to a situation here a few months ago when they last met, okay? So it's kind of reliving and bringing back up to the surface. And then I think you're going to find some resolve this time around, and then before Jupiter is going to be moving forward again. But any opportunities for you February 15th, looking awesome. Your energy is on top. So go for it, whatever that is. Romantically, it looks like it could be a very good day just because the energy is exactly there where it's at. I'm seeing that there could be a lot of drive, a lot of passion here on the 15th, and that's following right behind there on Valentine's Day the 14th. So that might just be a very good couple of days for many of you. So this is what we have for you here in February, Aries, and make sure to listen to your moon and your rising sign and see what that can fill in for you. And for those of you yet not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you can get these videos directly to your inbox. And I will see you next month. Bye now.